hate this tree so much. Oh, that is a big slime. Ah, 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 ah. Ah! 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 It's so fast! Why is it so fast? Okay. Oh, gee.
What a nice village. A shame if you damaged it.
Damn it, gun! Oh! Of course there's going to be a tactical nuke. I can find another bed. Are you kidding? Just want one good game. These are good. These are friends. These are allowed to enter the house. The 1% super creeper. It wasn't a nuke, it was just a super creeper. Why is there a dragon down? No one clipped that. That never happened. Yeah, there's not much I can do with the Sable right now, because, that. Heal, please. Pick up the soul, I'm pushing the A button, come on! Did it come off with two-hand? Of course, Gunhog should get you Baldur's Gate 3, Tyler. I mean, is it even a question anymore? I was saying, you know, Dark Souls 2 is pretty good and everything. Nope, completely changed my mind. Dark Souls 2 is absolute trash. There we go. Got the Doctor game done as fast as I possibly could, so we can get back to having fun again. Go. Look who decided to show up. Ow. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm dead. Well, love it when you're stuck in the wall. Yeah, I think I can break his poise with most of my light attacks. Sometimes it doesn't work. Like right there. I'm getting stuck on something that's rubber banding me back. Now I'm gonna get hit. Like there, I'm stuck on something again. All the pork chops. More pork chops. Shower me with your meat. Professor Pig? Are you lost? Are you lost? You're literally dead center of this ocean. Zoom. I did not zoom in as much as I was thinking it would. I'm gonna overflow. Ooh, ooh. Teleport. I thought I was gonna hit that. Oh, it goes through. I'd survive this drop, right? Hey, what's up, everyone? How are we doing? Just get the last of everything all set up here. Do it this way. That should work. Okay. So I'm gonna be watching the DBD update here. Apparently it sounds like there's gonna be like a bunch of like changes to perks and stuff like that. A meta shakeup. Something that they needed to do like 2 years ago. So they're finally getting on with that. Maybe they'll do some stuff to help with the anti-tunneling and anti-slugging stuff. Make things a little bit better for killer. Give them some buffs to not play like that. Maybe that'll be in here. We'll see. But the roadmap should be all up there. But before we get into all this, for the first time, May, congrats on snagging the first. Being the first one here. It's a lot of firsts. Congrats on grabbing that. Also, thank you for signing the guest book. Appreciate you. But we'll get on into this. I don't think we're getting any audio. I don't see it going up at all. What has really broken? It's not even letting me drag. That should be correct.
We've missed you. It's felt like a long time. It has not been a long time.
Yeah, it feels like it's been like forever, but don't worry.
There we
We've
go.
got Eric, we've got me, and then we've also
Now it looks
got
like we're
our
good.
friendly special guest, Andre.
The elusive yet popular Andre,
Yes.
which we'll cut to in a
See,
second.
it's a little
Yeah.
bit
I
better.
didn't know we're gonna do it so quickly. There he is.
Waha.
Always so well
Surprise.
dressed.
Hello.
It's putting me to shame.
Always famously dressed. Yes. The back of the vest looks killer. I
Yes.
promise you.
Well,
it
now
looks
I
killer.
gotta show
Oh yeah,
you.
now you gotta show the back. Yeah, look at that.
Let's go.
Oh, Lord.
It looks so cool. But yeah, so great to be back and to be talking about some news and updates for you about what's going on in the world of Dead by Daylight.
Yep. And you know, wow, it's loud out there. If someone wants to shut that door, that'd be great. It's not in our running point, our talking points, but I figured let's reflect a little bit. Last month we had quite a moment with the community here in Montreal. So many of you came out to be with us to celebrate the 10th anniversary, and I know for us here on the dev team, it created genuinely lifelong memories. I hope
Yeah.
that for the folks who are able to come, you feel the same. We want to be able to do it again, so keep up the positivity there, and we'll keep you updated as the time goes on to see if we can do another one.
Yeah, it was really awesome to see just the onslaught of people coming out and meeting you all in person. It was truly mind-blowing just how many people were like kind of running up to us and wanted to talk to us. And I just love and appreciate every single person I got to meet, everything I got to sign, every picture I got to take. It really was like world changing, just mind altering to just kind of have that experience. So thank you all so much for coming out and spending your day with us. It's because it was like from morning
Oh,
to,
yeah. It was a long
to
day.
late night. Yeah.
It was a long day.
I don't think I got home until like midnight. So thank you all so much. It was so much fun and I really enjoyed it.
And I thank you as well. If you couldn't be here, I know we streamed a lot of it. That was where I was most of the day, was on on the talk show set. So it was great that you could join us from home. But you know, we mentioned, if you caught it, we want to be able to bring that to more people around the world too. You know, we've created this thing called the Campfire Tour that you're going to hear more about as it becomes more of a thing. But we want to be able to bring experiences like we had in Montreal in little mini versions around the world to where our players are. So stay tuned on that one. Yeah, it was just a really magical time. Thanks again for everyone. And I will also say, because we're the community team, we're already taking your feedback on the event to think about how we could do things differently in the future and improve things as always. So thank you for those who gave us their feedback. All right, on to the actual talking points of the show. This is something we do every year. We're doing it a little differently this year, and that's Into the Rainbow. If you've been around, you know we usually do it in June. For a couple reasons, we wanted to switch things up this year. As I just mentioned, we both just mentioned, June was a crazy month for us.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't want Into the Rainbow to just feel insignificant amongst massive event, massive broadcast, in-game event, Jason. So getting it out of June was nice because in Montreal, we celebrate Pride almost now. It's coming next week. World Pride as well is coming next week. So we aligned it to that. Give us more time to make something special for Into the Rainbow, which we are doing this year. So it's kicking off July 28th. It's going to run until August 10th. It's not just a single one moment thing. And the official part of it on our stream will be there on the 28th to kick things off. And then we're going to be handing it off to a bunch of fantastic, awesome people for that entire run. And it's going to be a super cool event. So stay tuned. July 28th, Into the Rainbow is back. All right, down to some business. If you haven't been around the last couple days, we have a new Rift. The new Rift is out. It's the Sunflesh Rift. And you know, we've got stuff for Wraith, Plague, Orella, Zarina, Tori, and Kate. But also from our previous community contest, which you're going to talk about the new one in a moment.
I will.
We have Feng Min's Star Student and the Knight's Splinter Rose as part of the free track, which is so awesome to see these becoming
Oh,
reality. as well as the Deadly Prize
See,
banner.
I'm
and
not a fan of
Moonstone
masks
Maurice,
skins.
Moonstone Maurice
They don't look
badge.
great to me.
So congratulations again to the winners. Hold on just one sec. We're going to talk about the new contest.
Like, I'll collect them to
Very
have
soon.
them.
I did want to mention, because you
I
notice
very
that
rarely would
Trickster
use them.
recolor, there's definite issues with that, which we are aware of thanks to you, and we're going to be working on that. So stay tuned for updates as we have them.
And it looks like it's just a bunch
We'll
of
also
mask
mention
cosmetics.
Sable Ward's Gothic Romance and the Unknown's Unsolved contest outfits are now available in the store as well. And lastly, Shane, who we love dearly. What a great
Yes.
addition to the Fog. Shane's Very Rare Cosmetics are going to get their Eerie Shard prices added on the 24th. So that's tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll also add what was one of the most memorable moments during the live stream broadcast for the anniversary was just the reaction to Shane,
Yeah.
and to see the outpouring of love and support on socials. Even now, like, we still see a lot of amazing love towards Shane. So that was chef's kiss. I'm so glad that we got to have that experience.
I
with
want to give a quick shout out to Simply Aretha. I was talking to her before the broadcast and expressing her interest. Oh, I wish we could have an Indigenous survivor, and it was killing me to not be able to talk about it. I just kept saying, like, let's reconnect in like an hour.
in like an hour.
So yeah, it was a great moment there. But
Must say,
wish we
I
could have
love that
shared
they
more.
finally have got
All right,
Indigenous
so next we're
killer
gonna
as
hop
well.
into
Or a
make
survivor.
a splash into
Nice.
Summer Screams. Yeah, you like that? Which will be starting out on the 28th. And in case you didn't know, Summer Screams will be our summer event where we'll be rotating through different game modes and modifiers. During this iteration, we'll be having Lights Out, Chaos Shuffle, and 2v8 making a comeback. This will be accompanied by the Waterfront Massacre collection, getting some.
I hate that I'm going to
collection
miss the
news, new
Light Zone
additions to
Chaos
the
Shuffle.
collection.
Yeah.
So super excited for that. And like Eric had said, the Design a Cosmetic contest is live.
Because those are my
for
two favorite game
2026.
modes, and I'm going to
You
miss them.
have until 11 a.m. on July 27th.
I feel like they
get
do
your
this
work
every
of
year,
art
though. I always
in,
miss it because they
and
put it right
those
when I'm
who
on
do
vacation.
win will be getting a 2026 badge, their piece of work put into Dead by Daylight, as well as 25,000 Auric cells. So what are you waiting for? Other than that, just want to make sure everyone realizes there's going to be 4 winners per category for a grand total of 16. So there's some room in there to get in there. Andre and I were the ones in charge of it last year. This year it's going to be myself and Basak, who is currently moving the stuff around. Thanks so much. And we're super excited, and we're already seeing such amazing works. So thank you so much for that.
It's the best time of the year. I do think of it as a precursor to what we're now doing with the Grimoire. It's sort of like the Design a Cosmetic contest crawled so that Grimoire could walk. I don't know.
This is also going to be our last chance for some of the Dead by Daylight official merch that came out for the anniversary. So make sure you're checking out the website to see if there's anything from this amazing collection that you'd like to go ahead and take home. And other than that, I think we've got some updates from Eric about Gamescom.
Oh yeah, so I mentioned a few minutes ago, we want to be where our players are more and more, and I'm very happy to say we're coming to Gamescom this year. If you were at Gamescom last year or the last few years, you might know there's been a fan-run booth, cosplay booth if you want to call it. This fantastic dude named Marco Aranos and his crew every year at Gamescom do an amazing, just completely separated from us, booth on their own. And what we've talked about the last couple of years, and we're finally doing now, we're working together on a joint booth that we'll have at Gamescom, especially geared towards photo opportunities, cosplayers, immerse yourself in DBD. So if you're in Europe, if you're in Germany, we would love to have you at Gamescom next month. So swing on by. And as a final segue, La Fogata. So as you've noticed, Andre is here. Andre is our regional community strategist. You might not know what that means, but you can piece it together by the words. He and the team focus on the regional parts, not just, here we are, the English speakers. There's plenty of people around the world, hopefully watching right now, from plenty of different regions, and we want to be thinking about you all the time. So that's Andre's focus. So he's going to be talking to us about La Fogata. I do want to just mention, if any of our Spanish community is watching, as we talk about this, we were all super, super saddened to see what happened in Venezuela. We're with you. We're thinking of you, and anything we can do to help you, send our way. We love you, Venezuela, and our LATAM community. So, without further ado, Andre, take it away.
Thank you, Eric. Hello, friends. So, as Eric said, we have a lot of regional players around the world for Dead by Daylight. And what we want to do going forward with the community live streams is to take some time and introduce you to the regional updates. So this time, again, we're talking about La Fogata. And it is an annual event, in-game event that we have to celebrate the Spanish-speaking community. This year we had a couple of community quests that you, our players, needed to work together in order to unlock some rewards. You have the badge for the Condor, which represents South America, and a badge for Iberian Wolf, represents Spain. So to
That
get
looks
this
really
out
cool.
of the gate straight away, we admit that the numbers, for survival goal were a bit low, especially in comparison with how high the number for killer hooks was. So
Or it's
on
because you
the
had the
last
event
day
where
of the
no one wanted to
event,
pay killer because you
we
just
had ourselves
made
a
it.
bit of a thriller, so to speak, because we still had a couple of million.
Yeah, so I think the issue here was more of you had the event where no one wanted to play killer because they just had a bunch of nerfs, and the game mode for survivors was incredibly OP. Like, when you already buffed the stronger side and nerfed the weaker side, like, no one wants to play the weaker side. Everyone wanted to play survivor. Like, you could look on Twitch and YouTube and stuff, and all the people that normally play killer were all playing survivor because no one wanted to play killer during the event mode, which is when you had this event. Like, that is why you had troubles meeting the killer side of the goal, and the survivor side got done super quick. Wasn't because the goals were kind of skewed the wrong way and they had the wrong numbers there. It's because the event mode that you had made it so no one wanted to play killer. Anyways, that's the problem that you had. It wasn't that the numbers
Of
were
hooks
off.
left in order to unlock the reward. And this is where I want to show you a quick clip of our DBD creator, Agustin Unoplay 8. Let's take a look.
Nos faltan colgar solamente 3 millones de Survivor, Virgo. 3 millones de Survivor y cumplimos como la comunidad de LATAM. Se los comento yo porque, claro, yo tengo una responsabilidad porque soy el streamer latanesco. Uno de los streamers de LATAM. Y bueno, nada, quedemos bien, gente, y cuelguen a los super.
So with this, with this hype, with this riling up the players, shout out to Agustin, shout out to Rimac Games from Spain, Agustin obviously from Argentina, to all the creators around the world, and of course to you, our players. Thank you so much for getting together and achieving this goal, and crushing the number and getting the reward. We also wanted to share with you a couple of cool regional artworks we had. So you can see the condor that I mentioned before for the badge. And if you're wondering why Dwight and Trapper are chilling, enjoying marshmallows, is because La Fogata actually means, the campfire in Spanish. So hence the artwork of them chilling by the fire. So again, go back to the initial goal target. For the hooks, it was a bit high. And, we didn't adjust the number in the process. We could, but we didn't because we didn't want to undermine your immense effort that you put already into achieving this goal. And again, despite the fact that the initial target was a bit overestimated, you still crushed it. So congrats on that. That said, going forward in the future community quests, we will make sure that we distribute the goal numbers evenly between survivors and killers, so it's not as easy or simple to achieve from one side or the other. And also we'll make sure that the goals are challenging but achievable. Like, as much as we enjoyed the thriller of getting the goal smashed
What
on
a
the last
comeback
day,
too. Yeah, that was crazy.
It was a deal biter.
we're gonna make sure it's a bit more fair going forward. And yeah, to wrap things up, I just wanted to say, we are really interested in what you think about La Fogata as an event. We're looking forward to your feedback. For our Spanish-speaking friends specifically, we're going to have a dedicated post on DBD Spanish socials. So after the stream, hop in, share your thoughts. What did you think about the event? We're already starting working, on the next year. So share your thoughts of what you would like to see there, maybe rewards, we're interested in your thoughts there. So again, after the stream, hop on the socials and share your feedback. And muchas gracias a todos. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for breaking that all down to us, Andre. So now we're going to go ahead and transition over to our gameplay update segment with Mandy, Matthew, and Diego, which you all were going to be super normal about.
Okay. Hopefully they're doing some big changes. More so just to make the game feel fun and interesting again. Like, it's kind of stale. It's the same old, same old. See the same meta perks and stuff. The non-meta perks don't do well, so feels one side and people just want to have fun. Be nice to shake up the meta again. And hopefully they get some anti-slugging and anti-tunneling things put in there. So I'm going to slow down the gens in the beginning. Before we get into this, I'm just going to do a quick little bathroom break. I'll be back in a moment here. Run the ad. That way we don't have an ad go through this. But I'll be back in a moment here. I'll throw up a bit of an older BRB. Yeah, let's go for a super old BRB. Did not know that body blocks. Wait, what? 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 Where when you mori someone, you just instantly kill them. Okay, either it's Ghostface or a survivor. How do you miss me? What?
I'm one off. Darn it. I would love to be able to do 200 damage to everything in a single shot. Attack 30 would be nice as well. Hey. Hi. Hello. What's up? Try it now. How about now? Can you hit me now? How about now? Okay. No, I'm at full HP. Null and void. Love it. Oh, those guys heal up fast. I did that too early. I am stupid. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, I got one. Everything's going great. Everything's going as planned. This is what I wanted. I couldn't use my embeds. Good thing we saved. That never happens. Might have been a bit of a hard landing. Okay, if I don't fuck this up, I win. If I fuck it up, we're trying again. Wait, he didn't blow. What? What? Okay, I'm confused on this one.
Okay. I'm back. Sorry about that. Also, again, thank you for signing the guest book. You've got your signature at least 7 times in there. Appreciate you checking in. Let's fast forward a bit. There we go.
And we're back. Hi, everybody. Welcome. And please, big warm welcome for Matthew
Hi again.
and Diego.
You,
Happy. I'm gonna
yeah,
say
I was saying you were avoiding it, but you were unsuccessful.
Yeah,
Hello.
I'm gonna say it. It's one of those things I can't help it. Dog is gonna session. So I'm going to be handing this over to Matthew.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about live design.
Yeah.
So this is a chapter release. Generally speaking, we don't do live balance changes for a chapter. That was the announcement we did previously. The reality is sometimes we need to, or we should, or it's a good idea to always be flexible for this kind of stuff.
Live games.
So generally speaking, I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference between expectations for live balance on a chapter versus mid-chapter. For a chapter, it's going to be more dependent on emerging needs. So this is, we're seeing stuff players are doing or interactions or changes in overall performance that we're not happy with, or we need to prepare for an upcoming mid-chapter. So this is the types of smaller changes we're going to do. Very, very small in scale and only when needed. When we say small in scale, we're not looking at reworking mechanics or adding or removing functionality. It's really just small numerical changes.
So no new systems or anything like that?
That's right. That's right. It's focusing on higher risk concerns and quality of life changes. And as always, not intended to shake up the meta in a meaningful way.
Yeah. Not on the chapter release.
Correct.
We're looking for those for mid chapters.
That's right.
Yeah.
So mid chapters, it's going to be much bigger in scale, and we're looking to be more and more impactful in this regard. Primarily killer and perk balance, not only those two things, but definitely primarily. And we're expected to do bigger impacts on the meta, right? So this is, when we say meta, of course, we don't mean what's best, we mean what players are playing most. So this is an attempt to diversify what players are experiencing a little bit more. And then also, we're going to start focusing more on different aspects of gameplay. So that could vary from, is there too much gen focus? Is there too much healing focus? Is there not enough hook-on-hook interactions? Is there not enough end game play? So we're going to focus changes around similar mechanics to give players an opportunity to explore a little bit more. And that's what we're trying to do in general.
So looking at it all holistically more than
That's right.
anything else.
That's right. So
one thing I wish they would do, and I know like they're saying in chapter they don't want to do big changes, the mid chapter is what they want to do. I want to see them do a chapter every year where there's no new killer, no new survivors, nothing new like that, and it's just a meta shakeup chapter where they just change. Like, I don't know, I think it was 2019, I want to say 2019 or 2018 when they did that huge meta shakeup and they just changed pretty much like half the perks and just reworked them all. I want them like every year to do something like that and have like a chapter just dedicated to that. Because the problem is when they do a lot of meta changes and stuff like that, they usually release another killer or survivor, something along with it, or something in a very close proximity to it. And then that killer kind of or survivor, whatever the new release is, kind of gets forgotten or gets kind of lumped into that change. And, for better or worse, it causes that survivor killer to be forgotten or just really well known for that meta shakeup thing. The Krasu is kind of the latest one that really got hit by that. When they had that's when they started to do the anti-slugging and anti-tunneling changes that everyone hated. Because she was so important for using that. Once they removed that from the game kind of thing, it kind of killed her. And it also made those changes look way more overpowered than they actually were. And it just kind of messed everything up. So I feel like if they're going to make these big changes and stuff, like when they do these meta shakeups, they need to not release anything new. Like the new shiny toy that we're all getting is that this game is completely different now. All the perks and everything are all changed around. The strong stuff's being nerfed, the weak stuff's getting buffed, and just playing around with everything new and not having to worry about a new killer, a new survivor, nothing new like that. Just the perks and stuff, the whole meta rework should be kind of the spotlight. And I think they should have one chapter every year where that's what it is, and that's what they should be focusing on, is just this is like a whole new game now. And I'd love to be able to see that. And then maybe at that time just have like a lot of really cool skins to release and stuff. I feel like they could there's a lot of really cool skins that they could probably work on, and then have that more of the focus and everything. Have like a new DLC pack come out with, season 11, meta shift DLC, and then just have a bunch of skins and stuff in that DLC pack that you can get, if you want to get like a bundle pack on Steam or something to get people to buy that. And that's what I would like to see them do. And then have, less skin releases and stuff for all the regular chapters and whatnot. But that's what I'd like to see them do every single year, is just have one season or one chapter of like just a complete meta shakeup, and just make the game fun and interesting again.
Perk changes. Primarily based on community feedback, and then perceived over underperformance. So more often than not, it's going to start with our players complaining or our players overly excited. We'll talk to, we have the outside people we work with. We have content creators who give us information and feedback. So that's where it starts. They flag issues, they flag concerns. We try to be data driven in the sense of, does the data confirm or deny what they're saying? If it doesn't match up, that doesn't suggest there isn't a problem. It means maybe the problem isn't as obvious as you think it is. So then we explore and we try to find newer, better explanations for where players are experiencing friction points.
It's not just one thing. It's not just data. It's not just sentiment. It is a combined mix of
That's right.
everything.
That's right. For this update, as I said before, limited to just tunables. So these are just numerical changes. We got buffs and we have some nerfs. For the buffs, on the killer side, we're looking at buffing, Call of Brine, Save the Best for Last, and Nurse's Calling.
I feel like that's fair. Call of Brine, like, it can be useful, but there's like 5 other perks that can do pretty much the same thing but better. So, and these are just numeral values, so like these aren't going to be real big buffs. So the Call of Brine, I think that'd be good. Save the Best for Last, that needed a buff years ago. Like, that perk feels so bad to run. Like, it feels like it gives you a boost when you don't need the boost, and then when you don't want the boost, the perk isn't useful anymore. So, yeah, Save the Best for Last. Would love to see an update with that, because it needs a lot of help. And Nurse's Calling, I feel like it's okay where it's at right now. I mean, if they are just giving it a slight buff with the numbers, like, I guess that would be nice. Like, you do have to get really close, and then when you're close, they're just going to stop healing anyways, so you get a little bit of value of it, but not as much. So maybe if they're boosting the radius a little bit for that might be good. But I don't feel like it's the most important. Like, there's a lot of other perks I would rather see get some buffs, but
I got numbers if we need the numbers.
Sure.
Do we need the numbers? I can't read them with my glasses on. Okay, so Nurse's Calling, that's going to be regardless of the health state, the healing is shown. So if we remember, there was a change and a bug fix recently, and with the feedback from the bug fix, it caused us to rethink how we want that perk to work more than anything else.
Exactly.
So nothing's really changing with Nurse's Calling. It was a bug fix that nerfed it, and they're just reverting it back. Is that what I'm understanding? Okay.
Brine, this will increase the time of regression from 70 seconds to 90 seconds.
Okay. I mean, there's still perks I think that would be better than Call of Brine that can do the same thing pretty much. I don't think increasing it to 90 is going to help. I think putting that to 110 might be a little bit closer to making it more of a viable pick, I think.
And what else have we got? I
No.
don't have save the best for last numbers.
No.
No.
Well, you'll see in the patch notes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Last I checked, we were doing a playtest earlier today. It's still a little bit in flux. For survivor buffs, there's quite a few, but not as many as you might think. Apocalyptic Ingenuity, Adrenaline, Clean
Adrenaline?
Break, Moment of Glory, Repressed Alliance, and Technician. These are all
Adrenaline? Okay. Adrenaline would be one of the ones I'd be nerfing. Because that is an incredibly good perk. Especially like at a higher tier if you're running like resilience. You want to be injured all the time, but when you don't want to be injured is in the late game or at the end game collapse. Like once all the gens are done, you're like, okay, I want to be healthy now because now I need to start trying to take hits for people and run the killer. So I feel like that one should be a nerf than a buff. Plus Alliance, that's going to be tricky because they say they're just changing numbers, and depending on what you're looking for in Repressed Alliance, I think that's the one that, like, when you're working on gen, you can hit your action button, whatever it is, and block the gen, which is great if the killer is about to regress it, like if it stops the regression, which I think I don't know if like something like say Ruin or something like that, if that would stop Ruin from working. If that stops Ruin from working, or something like Eruption or something like that, if you could stop it with that, like I think if that works like that, Repressed Alliance works good. Or if like you see the killer coming and they have pop, stopping them from being able to use pop, that's good. But I find more times than not, it actually doesn't help you because then you're stopping that gen from being able to be worked on. So you're essentially just making it so you can't work on that gen anymore. So increasing the numbers would be a nerf because now it's going to take longer to work on the gen again. But also, like, decreasing time could also be a nerf because now it's less time the killer has to wait to stop regressing it. What I would do is make it so that the survivor can take the Repressed Alliance off at any time. Like they go back up and press the active button, that they can remove it again. That's what I think a buff would be. Yeah, because I feel like a bigger buff would be reducing the time on it. The perk isn't that great. I never run
getting
it
small tweaks.
for that exact reason.
I've got
That
some of those anyway. So apocalyptic ingenuity. We don't get me to say these words. My dyslexia is verbal as well as written. It's now 2 chests and 4 seconds. Was the next one? Adrenaline. Okay, that's actually going back to the way it used to be. So the haste is now increased back to 4 seconds from 3 seconds. The exhaustion will remain at 40 seconds.
That's right.
So I think that's because it got hit a bit with diminishing returns.
That's right.
That sort of thing,
That's
wasn't
right.
it? Yeah. And clean break. That is going to be 45 seconds broken instead of the 60 seconds. So that one I've got. And Repressed Alliance is the generator block time, I think, is increasing slightly.
Yeah, just not much, but again.
Yeah, I think that's more of a nerf than a buff. I think you want less time on it. Like the only time that would be useful is if the killer's just going to camp out the generator, which they're generally not. They're going to see that you blocked it and they're going to leave because they know they're not going to wait that long. And then like when they see that it's actually good things, and you know, okay, and I know this gen is not going to get worked on for a while, so now you can go and chase whoever it is. Like, I don't know.
A slight increase, yeah.
Slight increase. All right, so now debuffs. If you're concerned that there's more survivor buffs than killer buffs, just wait a moment. So for debuffs on the killer side, it's really just one.
Well, I added more.
Okay. Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oof.
Sorry.
You get me in trouble now. Nowhere to hide.
Yeah. So that's down to 18 meters from 24 meters.
Good.
It's a pretty big nerf, but it is a very annoying perk to go against. Like, you get so much value out of that perk, so going down is probably a good idea.
I'm going to be
Color phobia, really? Because I never see anyone run that, and when I do see someone run that, I'm like, oh, this is the most annoying perk ever. But like in a good way, like I never see this. This is like changing up how you play the game a little bit. For those that don't know, that's the one that slows down the. Because I've actually been starting to run this on my salty build, which maybe that's why they're nerfing it, because people hate it and it makes them salty. But it makes these skill checks go like twice as fast. So people usually end up missing their skill checks, and your healing speed goes slower while in the terror radius of the killer. So if you're outside the terror radius, nothing changes. It's only when you're actually in the terror radius that you get super fast skill checks when healing. And it goes a little bit slower.
affected by that one. I'm sorry.
Chlorophobia.
Yeah, I couldn't say it either. That's going to heal 30% slower. It's currently 50% slower on.
That's a bit of a hit. Honestly, like I said, I don't think that one needs any changes. If anything, a buff to it would be nice, but
Live.
And Thrill of the Hunt.
Again, this is another perk I would be buffing, not nerfing. Because Hex perks right now are just horrible to run. Like, I hate running Hex perks because they get cleansed right away, and then you lose your perk. Like, you lose a perk, essentially. So, like, Thrill is kind of like a meme kind of, I'm going to slow down and getting the totems done.
That's going to be, each stack is going to be 10%. So I think that was down from 12.
From 12.
From 12. This is a 10.
I think they should be buffing, not nerfing that. All Hex perks kind of need a little bit of a little bit of help. Some of them need way more help than others, but like Hex builds are just awful right now. They get cleansed way too fast. And there's nothing that you can really do to kind of stop them. Like you pretty much have to have an all Hex build just to like have 1 or 2 hexes at most. And by mid game, you're gonna have no perks essentially by that time because they're all gonna get cleansed. So yeah, they need to do some buffs with the hexes, and like one of the best things that you could do would be buffing Thrill of the Hunt. So
yeah,
don't know what they're thinking when doing
We're
that.
going to have bigger changes for this in the next mid chapter, but this goes back to what Matthew was saying by identifying an emerging need. We're noticing this a lot on live right now and how problematic this is becoming. So to get ahead of it, we're going to reduce the numbers just for this patch, and then it's going to get a bigger change in the mid chapter.
This is another good example of, we know it may or may not have more interactions with the killer being released, so we want to get ahead of, needing to affect the killer when it's really just a global problem that we should be improving sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So, survivor debuffs. There's 3. And I think most players are going to be excited. I'm going to say it before I show it. Small numerical changes. Don't expect a lot. But
I mean, survivors
That
need
just because
lots.
we're doing it now doesn't mean we're not going to further change them in the future. This is just getting them ready to see where we need to take them in future releases.
Exactly.
Sprint Burst, Deliverance, and Vigil.
Yeah. So
Why is Deliverance getting debuffed? I mean, as long as it's a small change, I guess. Visual, thank goodness. They needed that. That is one thing that needs to get fixed is Visual, because it's incredibly, it's such a strong perk to counter. Like, the one perk can counter so many other things. Like, you usually have it to fix your exhaustion, but because it goes with so many other killer things, that it nullifies a lot of those things. Vigil definitely needed a nerf. And Sprint Burst, I mean, it might just, if they're saying like these are really small number changes, like I guess that's fine. But I never really had too much of an issue with Sprint Burst, so
Sprint Burst, 50% haste for 2 seconds instead of the 3 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Vigil
it's not
is
much,
going to be from 66 to
44?
40%, isn't it? Down to 40.
All right.
I think 40.
I would still like see it like 30 to 25 is where I think it should be at, but like they might just want to go 30 for now and maybe knock it down to 25, but that's where I think Vigil should be, because it's still
40.
It's in flux.
It's in 40, 44%. We'll
Still
fight
too high.
over it and see who wins. And Dali, everybody knows on the team that I always play with Dali, so it's like I've been
that's why we
teased
nerfed
about
it.
this. That's exactly it. I'm never telling them my perks again. Yaboken now twice as long, so 120 seconds with Deliverance.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a little bit annoying. I think that's still over. I think 90 seconds would be good, because most of the thing is, it might not affect you very much, especially with the whole killer's gonna tunnel. Because it doesn't matter how long you're broken, if they're gonna tunnel you, they're gonna catch you anyways. But 120 seconds seems a bit long. I think 90 seconds is probably the sweet spot where they probably want to have that. But again, like, it's not the greatest perk. It can easily be a wasted perk if you get found right away. So,
Now, that's for this release.
Yeah.
We're going to have had 2 chapter releases in a row.
Yeah.
We skipped an entire mid-chapter. That means the changes we planned for diminishing returns got delayed. But those resources were kept. The general resources we had for the live team, we still did all the work on our side. There were other constraints for why we couldn't do a mid-chapter release. But we can start teasing some future changes. This is going to be for the release after this chapter. I'm not going to name specific perks. I just want to give everyone an idea of the amount of change that's coming.
Yeah,
here we go. Next release, there's going to be no killer update. And I know we have a lot of killers that need updates. The original intention was to have phase 2 of Blight's rework here. And we had a design for it. It was more of a side grade than anything else based on his performance. Just really to change, which add-ons are more or less popular, stuff like that, be a little bit more flexible in the future. But we looked at the impact we expected that to have versus the delays for changes post-diminishing returns. We didn't think it was going to be impactful enough. So we decided to put Blight aside for now and do more perks, 45 or more perks. We're still in the process of getting the work done, seeing how long it takes, playing with our bandwidth. This number probably expected to grow by a little bit more already, but that's a lot. It's a lot coming all at once.
And that's more than just number changes, isn't it?
That's right. A lot of these are reworks. It's about even between Killer and Survivor.
Thank you, Mexi, for the... That's 72 months.
General perk updates and diminishing returns. Obviously, I just said it a bunch of times. We're late with bigger changes.
That's 72 months. Mexi, thank you so much. Appreciate the 72 months of support. That's 5 years, isn't it? Is it more than 5 years? Is that 6? My God, Mexi, thank you so much for 6 years of support. Really do appreciate it. How you doing, Mexi?
This will not be the last diminishing returns based update. We might not always say it's a diminishing returns focused update, but now diminishing returns is a permanent part of what we take into consideration when
About to head home. Nice.
The general perk updates is simply a lot of the general perks that are unlocked for new players don't see use, and they don't see use for good reason. They haven't been updated in a long time, a lot of them. They were made for a game that was completely different, 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Max needs to stream more in A-Rate, or I mean, that's
DVD has evolved, the players and how they like to play have evolved. We
you're,
want to help
you're spitting facts there, man.
get up to speed and feel the game as it should be sooner.
Maxi, if I'm streaming, you can stream. Don't give me that old BS stuff. We have a raft we still need to work on. How you doing, Mid-Armor? It's been a while. Mid-Armor, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. I don't know if the alerts are working right now because I have it on the reacting template, but I appreciate the follow.
So,
well, Carnival Hunt?
General perks. No debuffs.
I don't know.
The perks being...
I've watched people play Carnival Hunt.
Are all getting side graded or better. Some are being reworked from the ground up, so they'll be completely different and more in tune with...
Interesting. Okay. It's nice that they're working on the general perks because, like they said, they are kind of trash, and like all the buying perks are way better than the general perks. So this will help the new people out a lot more. Yeah, I've watched some people in the alpha playtests and the beta playtests. It looks interesting. Gun, your IP got shadow banned. Rip. Now you have to communicate through send my highlighted message.
The current reality of the game, and they'll be modernized for the current state. For the diminishing return changes, about 2/3 of them are buffs. So there are some perks that don't interact with diminishing returns at all because of the nature of their design. They're being overused right now, or they're feeling egregious to players on either side.
You are good
Those
now,
are being
Gun.
taken down,
We can see you. You are alive.
Far and wide, the majority of changes we're making are buffs. Sorry, it's not. There we go. Debuffs are mostly effects that interact less with diminishing returns. And that's it. That's all that's on the horizon for live balance for now. No? Is there something else?
We're gonna want to mention something about the unhook protections.
Yes. So we're making a change to unhook protections at the end of match, or just in general, and especially for the end of match.
Especially for the end of the match, yeah. So what we're basically doing right now, you get the haste, endurance, off the hook, it's 15 seconds. We're knocking that back down to 10 seconds, but you will also have elusive off the hook. That will allow players to be able to get away from the hook, to be able to avoid that area of tunneling, but it means that you won't be able to weaponize.
That's right.
So we're going to try it with that to see how that impacts. The elusive, though, is not going to be active in endgame.
That's right. But the 10 seconds
The 10 seconds
is going to be.
Yeah, 10 seconds haste and endurance is going to be there in endgame, but no elusive.
But no elusive. That means, like Mandy said,
Like, I would prefer to see the 15 seconds. Because, I mean, that's just going to make it easy. The problem is going to be you're adding elusive, which is going to make it harder to find them if you don't have, like, direct, like, if you can't see, like, if you're born around, because you're not going to see the scratch marks, the blood, pools of blood, and all that stuff. So it's going to be hard to track the survivor down. So if you go away and then you see someone get unhooked and you go back now, it's going to be hard to find that person, which, okay, that's great. But the thing is, that's now going to incentivize killers to stay closer to the person that's on the hook. And now they're going to have less time to be safe once they're unhooked, which is going to make it easier to tunnel them. So they're incentivizing more of proximity camping and tunneling off the hook. That's the opposite of what I think they should be doing.
less weaponizing, especially in endgame.
Yeah.
You want to go in for those last-minute rescues. You want to make the altruistic play, but it's not going to be as easy or as free as it feels currently.
It was 15 seconds.
The end game
We
stuff, that makes
identified
sense.
How far a survivor could get with the haste and the endurance of the 15 seconds, and it was quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit much.
Yeah. And then I think, what?
See, what I would do is I give them elusive for 5 seconds, and then give them haste for 10, and be kind of unhittable. Was it? I can't remember what it is. But making it so they can take the extra hit for 15. And then at the end game, I'd just make it a flat 5 for all. I'd actually no elusiveness. They don't need elusiveness in that. Give them the speed boost and the endurance for 5 seconds in the end game. I feel like that would be a lot better, but you need to give them like 15 seconds to like try to get somewhere. Install it out. Like if the killer is going after them after 15 seconds, then like they deserve having that extra time. So yeah, I don't like that change.
Go on, you can say it.
Say what?
MMR. We've got that coming up for
Yes,
release.
that's another thing that's in the works.
Yeah.
I can't speak a lot about it, but MMR and how it's calculated is not going to be purely based on kills anymore. So this is a big change. There's a lot going into it. We already have parts of it in the game not affecting players in any way.
Doesn't affect players. No.
But just so we can collect data and see the impact it's going to have when we push it live.
It's just on our back end systems, but we should have more before the release on
That's
that.
right. More before the release. In PTB, I don't think we use MMR at all.
No, we don't use that in PTB. So it's going to be for the live release. So you can expect to hear more from in New York in the August live stream. Thank you, Matthew.
Working on MMR.
I'm not going to talk about MMR either, so yeah, all safe.
Well, you can if you want.
Well, okay, let's start. So, let me tell you everything. No. So yeah, we're transitioning into a single thing from UX that we're very stoked about it, very happy about it. And I must stress out that a lot of times, well, with the UX team, we have been able to accomplish this or that, but I must stress that in this case, wasn't only the UX team, the cooperation between all areas of the DVD was amazing, including work here from Papi Matt.
Oh God, two Pappies. I can't cope.
I'm not going to call myself Pappies. I need to do it to someone else.
Okay, I'll call you Pappy.
So at the information of the killer in a key actions manner on the match details. So you
Yeah.
could check what the killer power was all about while playing, and we saw that it was used by a lot of people to a situation where it was your first time. Sure. So that's what
Which
we
is
wanted, and we wanted to keep helping people to learn and remember, even during a match. However, that was only for something else. We couldn't communicate at that moment. Has meant that someone, for instance, me, wants to learn about killer power, being killer main. It's super interesting always for me to be trying different stuff. And what we have is something that it worked, but as we evolve, we start seeing that we needed to improve the way we communicate stuff. So we had that tooltip, and after reading a couple of paragraphs, some people like me would end up having a very hard time to understand
Peace.
favorite. So we don't want to keep just telling you what the killer power is about. We're not going as strong as to say that I just missed one text there, but it doesn't matter. We need to provide. So we are going to tell and show. So let's roll. Oh, there it is. Of course, I had all this prepared.
You had
So,
it
yeah,
all
this is
prepared.
only for comedic effect,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
I love to put on a show. So now let's go. So we are having this new section for each single killer from now and for any future killer, where we are detailing on separate little key aspects what the power is all about. We want to present things in a way that's easier and more enjoyable for you to learn about the killer from a killer perspective and from a survivor perspective. And the start of the show is not there for you to think how to use what is there, but the video. So as you can see on the pic here, we have shown things that the pic can do, but also what survivors could do to remove the trap. This is also accessible from any lobby. That means that if you are a survivor, you don't need to leave your lobby while matchmaking or not. You can jump directly while you're in the lobby to keep learning about the killers. And you can see the extended information.
That's
that
cool.
we
They needed to
added
do
at
this
the
a
beginning,
long
couple
time
of
ago.
streams ago, a couple of updates ago, where you can learn and remember what some keywords were. In this case, we're displaying there, for instance, hinder and killer instinct. So another thing that we need to share with you is that killers, yes, have the access there, but also they can access this section directly clicking on the killer power. And for the people that are observant, maybe you already noticed that the tooltip now is not this strong, long descriptive list, but it's surfacing the same information that we are putting out there on the match details. So what we want to accomplish is for you to be able to, on a first glance, understand, let's say, this, to say, okay, this is the power, kind of like, what is it about? But if you want more information, you can click on that or click on the official, let's say official, access. Those words.
Official.
It's not just his mic, it's everyone's mic, it looks like.
See
It's getting
all
worse.
there is about and to understand the conditions, to understand the triggers, and also how to counteract it. So we hope this is going to be not only a place to learn, not something to share with your friends and new players, but also an enjoyable tool for content creators, for expert players, for anyone that want to just embrace what a
Yeah, that's great. And it's good for our content creators when they've got a lot of people, new people in their chat, trying to explain what each killer is, especially if you're playing Survivor. and you don't play killer, because we do have a lot of players that play one side and not the other. So it's kind of good that they can actually have that visibility and then have that understanding, especially when it's a new killer and you haven't had, and for example, you know what it's like when you play a new killer. You see the killer all the time in the lobby. That killer is the most played. It's natural. So it's kind of good that as a survivor, then you can open up when you're in the lobby and say, okay, I know we're going to have a lot of X killer. So let me have a look what the power is and practice for next match when you've been steamrolled and it's in another match. Yes, that's happened to me a lot recently.
You're totally right. And what is funny, and people can judge me about this, but I have played Oni more than once. I'm not good at Oni, but I have played. And when we were working on this, suddenly just checking the scripture and doing stuff, does this and that, and it's like, even when I haven't played so long, I didn't know there were differences in blood or distribution and everything. So it was like, oh, so I hope this is a moment of realization also for a lot of people, and your thoughts and how we should go forward, because as everything we have done, we want to keep improving and making the game more enjoyable and more interesting for all of you.
This is why we say you should play both sides.
Everyone should play both sides.
Provide more context on the decision to debuff coulrophobia.
Yes, tell me why.
So, sure. We understand that they're not the most common perks, right?
Yeah.
And then we look at data to kind of lead us and try to have the perks.
Really wish the audio was working.
Problematic in and of themselves. They're problematic when paired with other certain things.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into it to a great deal. Higher MMR brackets, we're seeing certain builds that are a little bit more egregious.
Certain play styles.
Certain play styles that are, a little.
Can I be blunt?
Well, you can.
I can be blunt. Basically, coulrophobia because of the egregious slugging builds, and it's,
So why don't you fix the slugging problem? I mean, why nerf a perk that's already not that great, that doesn't see a lot of people using it, just because it's bad with one playstyle? Why don't you fix it so that playstyle isn't as good? Right? Like, that would be my whole thought process.
It's being used a lot in that. We're recognizing that as a very unfun play style and something that isn't planned for what we want.
So stop making it the primary thing to do at the higher MMRs. Like, this is what's frustrating about behavior, is they see a problem and they try to fix it without fixing the actual problem. They put other things in to try to fix the problem rather than actually just fixing that problem. And then it ruins everything else that's adjacent to it, kind of thing. Because, like, I love seeing matches where color phobia is in it, because I'm like, this is something new, this is something interesting. Like, I have to play the game in a different way now. And they're nerfing the stuff that you want to see. All because, like, there's a certain couple people, like, certain playstyle that isn't fun to play, and this perk gets used in that playstyle. Fix the problem with the playstyle, not the perks that are being used in that playstyle.
For played.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nowhere to hide. I hinted at it. There's some interactions already. We know that. We have similar expectations with the new killer who's coming up later in the present. Starting to pair together a little bit unhealthy.
I hope I'm using health in a healthy.
You're a nowhere to
No,
hide
not again.
nurse, aren't you? Okay. Well, both, thank you both very, very much. As ever, you'll have these changes in the PTB. Please test them
Yes.
and let us know. We are there for the feedback. A lot more.
Sounds good.
And MMR.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Going
you,
to
everyone.
hand over to the Grimoire section now. So thanks all.
Hey, I'm gonna take another quick little break here. I'm just gonna top up on my tea. So if everyone wants to get up, stretch, I'll throw an ad break on just so we don't get an ad in the middle of the Grimoire section. And I'll be back in a moment here. I'll put up another old BRB so we can get some old stuff to laugh at. But I'll be back in a moment. Like, it just takes inputs from 2 or 3 seconds ago and then decides to use them. Roll! I'm not pushing roll anymore. Guard the house for bees. Thank you so much, Silver, for gifting out a sub. Destroying the house before Gun could get to it. Okay, hopefully this is all fixed. OBS crashed. Hopefully audio is good. Looks like it's fine. Also, apologies if you hear some thunder in the background. Just absolutely a massive downpour and seen a few lightning strikes and some thunder, so you may hear it in the background. The last one was further away, so it's probably moving away from us now. But not great, because we're in a very high forest fire risk right now, and lightning strikes are just asking for a forest fire.
Hi.
Speed up a bit.
Hi everyone, Omnia here. We're here to talk about the Grimoire today, and it's very exciting because we're not just here to talk about the Grimoire as, you know, the whole process we've had this past year of making a chapter with you. We're here to talk about the Grimoire as our upcoming chapter. The next chapter you're going to get to experience in the game now, the Curse of Sin. It's a big transition. We have a lot to show you today, a lot of exciting things. But first, we want to start by thanking you. You know, you've been with us for over a year now, building this chapter. You've been with us, you know, one vote at a time, helping us, you know, create the Judgment, create Aurora, bring 2 new characters to life. And I think it's fair to say that there wouldn't be a Judgment without you, there wouldn't be Aurora without you, we wouldn't have the Hopeless Exile. These are things that you made possible and that we're bringing to life in the Fog. So very, very exciting. A couple of things to note, you'll get to test the new content very, very soon. The PTB is coming early August, so you'll get to try all of that, everything we've worked on for a year with you. But on top of that, we'll start rolling out some content as early as next week. So stay tuned, a lot of things to show you, and maybe you'll even get an early look at the content of the chapter. So very, very exciting things. But we'll start with a bit of an update on the progress we've made so far, because the last update was part of our blog post. You know, we had a stream before that. We've really wanted to show you all the work we've had behind the scenes. And today we get to do that, not only as, you know, all the work we've put into the Grimoire, but you're going to get pretty much an early look at the chapter. You know, you get an early look at all the content we've worked on and all the content that you made possible. So we're gonna start, and we're gonna start with a very familiar face that you've seen on our stream For the Grimoire, we're going to start with Jeff, our senior game designer, to talk about gameplay.
How's it going? This is a new mic, by the way, so I'm not really sure like how close.
We'll get used to it. We'll get used to it. It's part of it.
I have to move like this with the
Yes.
mic. Yeah.
You got to be very careful with the mic. But we'll figure it out. And we're going to start with some gameplay updates, and then we'll pass it off to Daniel, our senior technical designer, to talk a bit about add-ons. Very exciting things. So, Jeff, please take it away.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say again, as Amia said, thank you so much for being with us throughout this whole very exciting ride. And I'm super, super happy because today you'll get to meet a lot of different people, including Daniel. He'll be talking about the add-ons, but I don't know if you want to say hello first, because it's your first time.
Yeah, I'm super nervous, but really excited to be here.
We're so happy to have you.
Yeah, I think it's cool. The more people, the better, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many people that work on this with us, and it's so important that everyone gets to see like how many talented colleagues we have.
Yeah, and a little teaser, you'll get to meet a lot of new people today. You're gonna have a full couch.
Yes.
You know, you're gonna get to meet a lot of new people, so it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of different facets, so stick around. Okay, so gameplay update. That's my.
The audio's going again.
They're very cool, by the way. So, again,
thank you.
Stick around. So for the judgment, so the killer. Around this time, it's really about fine-tuning the balance. You know, all the speed curves that we have, and how long the pillar lasts. Sorry, I'm hearing a lot of production.
Have Daniel's mic.
Oh, let's switch mics.
Oh. Backtracking. This is Dan. Dan worked on the add-ons. Very cool guy, and he's going to tell you more about himself afterwards. But for now, let's focus on the gameplay for the judgment. So at this stage, we've been focusing on fine-tuning the balance, notably, the speed curves when you're using your power, when you come out of it, the cooldowns, and all of these things. Also, we've had a lot of playtesting because that's very important. And one of the things that we found is that the survivors felt the killer was able to, what we called internally, perform the insta-fling. And what that means is essentially you would charge up your Ray of Retribution, and the moment it was on a survivor, you would just cast it, and that would instantly injure them. And that had the result of people not really having a lot of fun. So, yeah. What we ended up looking at for that is adding a small delay before it actually becomes lethal. And to further encourage the judgment players to lean into this whole controlling phase that we have for the Ray of Retribution, we made it so that the longer that you control it, the shorter that delay gets. And right now we also have because once you cast it, it has a certain lifetime. And if you control it for long enough, that lifetime will actually be longer than if you just insta-cast it. So far, the results of that have been really, really positive. I think we've been having a lot of fun with it. Of course, we have some really funky add-ons that we tested as well, but, more on that after.
Yes, very soon, very soon. But I think it's so good because you get to see, too, it's not something we show a lot for regular chapters, but you get to see the amount of fine-tuning that really is involved in, building a chapter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a whole list of changes I could share, if you guys want to put it there, like people could see everything I've done, because that list is long as, anyway. And yeah, the Hopeless Exile, obviously internally we have a lot of different skill levels. We have veteran players, we have more newer players, we have average players, and they're all very important to fine-tuning, right? Because one player's experience does not invalidate another's. And so for the Hopeless Exile, one of the main feedback that kept on coming back is that survivors felt the hazards were too frequent, where they felt like even if they were dodging, it was pointless because they would just get hit. And
exactly.
I have a video in the next slide that I'll show, but you'll have a comparison between the prototype and what it is now. And I think even the video, it's not even the latest numbers because the video is, was recorded a couple days ago. But basically in the prototype, you see the hazards are like actually really, really aggressive.
Yeah.
And then now they're much less aggressive. And there's also a lot more rules to them because in the prototype, we just kind of like slap them together to make it work, which is what we do in prototypes. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to stop yapping. Let's look at videos. So on the left side, you have the prototype version, which you may have remembered seeing in the past. And on the right side is from, like I said, a couple days ago. And you can see I'm trying to like recreate the same kind of movement so that you can see that it's functionally the same. And it's just, it's been super popular internally. People are having a lot of fun with it. And here, this is a comparison for the Exile. So if you hadn't seen the Exile in action, well, here it is. So you can see the crystals that you collect with the artifact. You can see the hazards as well that are plummeting the ground and trying to make you die faster. And then if you compare it to the prototype, the frequency of them and how precise they are is much more different. So I'm just going to go back again. I'm going to try clicker. Okay, and then I'm going to play it again just so that in case you missed it, because I didn't set it to loop because I'm too old. I don't know how that works. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
You were talking about the tweaking, the fine-tuning. We were looking at the Hopeless Exile. And I think one of the things that's really good to see is that you want to, I think with the Hopeless Exile, you want to make it feel unsafe. You don't want, survivors just, having fun in there, but you still want the gameplay to be fun.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's the nuance to have is that while it is meant to be a risky environment that you don't want to stick around in, you also don't want it to be unplayable for players who may not have the same experience level as more veteran players. And I think we've reached a pretty good middle ground between the two.
I think my mic's set up, so you probably won't
as I
hear
said,
it.
Playtesting is continuing. Actually, we have one scheduled later today to test some later changes that I'm not going to tell you about. But yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah, exactly.
Surprise.
Yeah, I can't spoil everything.
No, not everything.
Like, you've got to figure it out and experience things for yourself when it's going to be available.
That's it.
I think that's a great part of like PTBs, right?
That's
like
it.
Seeing things and playing it for
and
the first
trying
time.
and testing and giving us your feedback as well and how you like it. So I'm going to keep it for the PTB.
All right. Well, now it's your time to shine, Dan.
Okay.
Oh wait, you need the clicker.
Oh yeah.
Here, clicker.
Sure. And yeah, hopefully I'm being picked up by the mic. If not, maybe we'll change.
Well, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Looks like it's good. All right. So as said, it's the first time I'm on the stream like this, so super nervous but excited. So a little bit about me is that I'm getting a different mic.
Production is here to help.
Yes.
Thank you, production.
And we're so happy to have you, Daniel. I know, like I mentioned today, we're getting to see a lot of new faces, and I think one of the great things about, the Grimoire is that we get to show the work we do behind the scenes and all the faces that work on that content, and it's not an opportunity we get very often to do that, so the Grimoire is really exciting for that, and Daniel, so happy to have you. Please tell us more about the add-ons.
Thank you. So am I being picked up now? Perfect. All right. So yeah, a little bit about me is that I've worked since the start with Jeff on the prototype. So I've done a lot of the programming of the killer actually, and for the past few months I've been designing the add-ons. So that's also been really fun, and I'm very excited to be talking to you guys about it now. So let's see if we have the slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the process that goes on for add-ons. A little bit about how we've managed it for the Judgment chapter, and then we're going to have a sneak peek at a few of the add-ons themselves. So in general, when we do add-ons,
like super
is
nervous.
that the initial paper designs come shortly after the prototype is done. We're always thinking about add-ons as we go through play tests in that prototype phase, but of course the main base kit is what matters most. But a lot of great add-ons come from those early play tests. Hey, what if the power does this? That would make a great add-on.
That's true.
And yeah, so then the implementation of them happens only after we get the main killer power done. So the play testing of it comes a little bit delayed. We focus on the main power, so we're always like a little bit behind on the add-ons. The next phase is doing a big narrative pass, so this is a fun challenge because we have so many terms in the add-ons that really refer to very specific, developer terms. So when we fling the pillar, it becomes cast. And when survivors gain sin, we had to replace a lot of sin with heresy. That's the new name. And where we are right now is that we're wrapping up the balancing of it. Well, we still have a couple of playtests in before it gets in. But yeah, we've done a ton of internal and external playtests. We've passed the paper design among everyone. And yeah, that's the general process.
And like I said, there's some really funky ones. Just, again, stick around. Stick around. Don't leave yet.
Yeah, we've gone a little wild, but we'll see how it works for PTB. So for this chapter, we're focusing on Divine Light as what add-ons affect, as well as expanding on Heresy, because...
Sorry, just, what is Divine Light?
All right, so Divine Light is, well, we refer to it as the pillar. So as you charge up Divine Light, you control it, and then you cast it. It starts to go in a straight line and damaging those heretics.
So for those of you who have been following the Grimoire for a long time, this is the Ray of Retribution. Its official name is Divine Light. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Oh, for sure. So I'm going to go back and forth between terms because we use them both.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the objectives was also to expand on Heresy, which was sin before. And while you won't really see anything that affects Exile itself, so the hazards, the beams that survivors encounter in Exile, we're not affecting those, but we do have things that are going to affect when you exile and when survivors are rescued from there. We also decided to do things a little bit differently and try to avoid too many status effects. Usually add-ons always apply status effects. They're convenient for us to use, and it's already a known language with players. But yeah, we're going to try to focus on things that really change the power. And of course, wanted to experiment with synergies between the add-ons. I had to.
You know what? I love it. I live for puns. Mandy would be very disappointed, but I live for puns, so I love this.
I didn't even click until he actually said it, and now I'm just like, what the? Oh, good job.
I might be driven off stage. We'll see. So let's take a quick peek at some of the add-ons. We've got 7 of them to show, and keep in mind that some of these may change in numbers, maybe in behavior, but, well, we're waiting on you to test it out in PTB and give us that feedback. So, first, whenever a survivor blinds you, if they're a heretic, they become blinded themselves, and then they gain heresy. So what this means is, if those pesky survivors are blinding you, they're going to gain heresy. But if they have the audacity to do it again, they're going to become blinded themselves.
That's great. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so is anyone a fan of bowling?
Yeah, actually, I would go bowling with my dad quite a lot. So yeah, I like bowling.
Well, that's great, because this one's going to be right up your alley. Because when you are zealous, you have a bit of a trade-off.
Thank you, production.
Yeah, so this is the bowling add-on. So when you become zealous, and this is the empowered state with a new name for it. So while you're zealous, you trade off half of that time, that duration, but you get the upside is that the Divine Light now breaks all breakable walls and dropped pallets it passes through. And I want to specify, it breaks all of those objects.
Oh.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing your clips of how many things you could break. And here's a challenge, try to get a strike.
Can't wait to see that. Please, if you do, post that on socials. We want to see it.
Yeah. So the next one is whenever a survivor gains heresy, then for the next 4 seconds, their aura is revealed to you. But in turn, your aura is revealed to them. So
it's very personal.
Yeah. Because it'll be a little bit of finger pointing whenever this activates. But keep in mind, this is whenever you gain heresy. So with that first add-on that inflicts heresy, well, this is also going to be something that could synergize with it. And that's going to be a theme with some of these. Then the fourth one. So for those who like to have some shenanigans in a match, this one is for you. So whenever a survivor liberates another survivor from exile, so this is when somebody rescues them from the exile hook, then for the next 20 seconds, their terror radius, so your terror radius is reduced by 75%. Then your terror radius is copied to every single shrine of judgment, and you gain undetectable. So this terror radius, there's going to be your terror radius, a mini one, on each of these shrines whenever somebody is saved. And that, for the sake of perks, they all work. So I look forward to seeing what kind of builds you come up with.
And to, there are 7 shrines, so that's a lot of terror radii.
Yep.
At the same time.
Very, very scary. Very oppressive. You're never going to feel safe. Yeah.
So I think this next one's going to really take off. So, while Zealous, you increase the max lifetime of Cast Divine Light by 200%. That effectively triples its lifetime. Though, it comes at a cost, because this is quite crazy. It decreases the radius of Divine Light by 50%. So, it's half the size. And the range that survivors could observe Divine Light's aura is extended by 200%. So survivors will see that rocket ship you send, and
I can't.
well,
I can't. It's too much. You didn't warn me about all these.
what am I doing?
Doing great. You're doing great.
All right. So if that one doesn't leave you coming back for more, this one will come back to you, because while Zealous, so there's going to be a little bit of a minimum delay before it starts to have its hitbox active, but it will increase the max speed of Control Divine Light by 100%. It will increase the maximum speed of Cast Divine Light by 50%, and it will always be directed towards you. So while you are in that empowered, zealous state, it's going to have a boomerang effect where it very quickly comes back to you. So I'm hoping that you'll find that this one catches survivors off guard. And then finally, the last add-on that we're going to be teasing is that Cast Divine Light now reflects off of the first 2 obstructions it would otherwise pass through. And when reflecting, it pauses for half a second before shooting off again. So this one is a little bit inspired by one of our earlier iterations in Prototype, where we try to make it bounce off objects.
Yeah, that was very, very early, actually. It was like before, for those of you who have been around for a long time, it was before we had the pillar, right? We had like the beam of light that went forward. And I think, I feel like maybe we had anyway, I'm going to stop talking. But yeah, very early on we tested that, and we moved away from it because of, I think it was the inconsistency of the collisions, right?
So some disclaimers when running this add-on. Well, our collisions aren't super great in the game, but so this one, expect things to come off at really bizarre angles once in a while. So this is not the most consistent add-on, but it is certainly the most chaotic one.
Yes.
So for those who just want chaos in a match, bring this, but probably don't bring it if it's your first few times playing the killer. It really changes how you play it, because normally it goes through collisions, but here it's going to prevent it going through those first collisions.
But I think this is great because it really gives you, opportunities to have fun with the power and with the killer. And like maybe at the beginning you get used to the power, you get used to the killer, and with time you get to try new strategies. So I think we have a lot for players to work with here.
We also love chaos.
We do. We love chaos.
So while that's all the add-ons that I have to show, I'd like to reiterate that we need your playtesting in the PTB, because there are 20 add-ons, and a lot of them synergize with each other, especially these 3 right here. So test all the combinations, go wild, tell us what needs to change, and we're listening.
Thank you, Daniel. This is great. I love that we got to see the process of also, you explain a little bit how we make these. What's the process of it. The logic behind it, how narrative comes into it, and seeing the add-ons, I can definitely see how they fit the Judgment really well. So I can't wait for us to try
before
them.
I move along, very early on, like the older killers, it used to be the killer designer that would do the add-ons, the perks, the killer power, the score events, the achievements, the loading tips, and the list goes on. And I, as a couple-time killer designer, I want to say that having someone else, another designer, use their brain to find add-ons, so great. And it speaks for itself. These are really cool.
Yeah, we get to have fun. We get to go wild. So.
Yeah, it's been a really fun process, especially working with you and
killer
bouncing
looks
off all these ideas.
super cool. I like how a lot of the add-ons are just
I can
very
sense a
weird and
pun
memey.
coming there, but enough. We've had enough puns. Just warning anyone who's going to be coming on the couch afterward. no more room for puns. But thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Daniel, for joining me today to talk about the gameplay, the add-ons. Like you had said, Daniel, please try the PTB. Like I mentioned, early August. Let us know what you think. We want to know how you like these. We want to know more about, the gameplay and all of that, because that's really important to us. And I think with the Grimoire, we got to give you a little bit of a glimpse of how we work behind the scenes. But now that this is going to be player-facing, we're going to need to hear more about, how you feel about the gameplay and how does it feel when you actually get your hands on it. So please let us know. But yeah. Thank you. We're going to move on very shortly to talk about art. We have more visual to show. Yeah, very, very excited. So thank you, Jeff and Daniel.
Thank you. Stick around. Don't leave.
Yeah,
Cool
don't leave.
stuff
We have
coming.
more to show.
Yes.
We have more to show.
Add a bit here.
We're back. I'm still here, but I have some new faces with me. Today, I'm joined by Jay, our Associate Art Director. Thank you for joining us again. You're a familiar face on this stream. I'm also joined by Stephanie, our Senior Lighting Artist, and by Maryse, our Senior 3D Artist. We're going to have a lot of very beautiful visuals to show you today, but we're going to start with something very exciting with you, Jay. Do you want to tell us a bit more?
Thank you for having me. So today I wanted to give a glimpse at our Course of Sin collection. So we've talked a lot about the killer itself, the gameplay around it, but we haven't talked so much about the actual cosmetic that comes with it. So I brought a little surprise to be able to show to the community, which is essentially our new banner for our cosmetic that will be arriving shortly.
So beautiful.
Players probably already remember these ones because these two were our winners of the vote that we done on cosmetic. So both very rare costume that we will have. I'm super happy by how the banner turned out essentially. And I didn't come just with the banner. I also would like to show some progress on the character themselves. So we have a look here at our 3D model for the very rare for Aurora. So again, keep in mind, it's the same information we gave when we released the blog post previously, that these characters are still work in progress. At that stage, they are not rigged to a skeleton. So what we see here is really what we call a T-pose that showcase the character in a very neutral pose, because we worked quite hard to have the right material, have the right silhouette, have the right look of the character, the right feel, all these elements. And afterward, we will rig that character to Aurora's actual skeleton, and we'll be able to bring her to life and give her facial expression and everything. So here we're giving a glimpse on the progression of how our model is advancing. We can see the concept on the left that was initially voted and how it will look essentially in the game.
So beautiful. But yeah, you got to polish all those little details before you bring her to life. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, and by looking at them in a very neutral environment like this, it allows us to focus really on the details and how they come up and how they react to lighting and all these elements. I didn't bring only Aurora today. I also have another surprise to show, which is our Judgment model. So this one was really something. It has a lot of detail. It was super fun to make. It was quite a challenge as well. We had
A lot of detail.
a lot of technical challenges to overcome with that one, to be able to fit into the budget and all these elements and make sure that it works in the game. So I'm very, very proud of how this one has turned out. And I really hope that the community will enjoy it and have fun with it.
Because that's a very ambitious design. There's so many things you need to take into consideration when you build a visual like this one, and it's absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to be chased by the
For sure.
judgment in the fog.
When we knew that one was the winner, we really were, oh, damn, okay, they choose the complex one, right? So we will have to think about how we make all these little ornamentals detail and how we make them work for the game. So it was a super fun challenge.
And I think with the Grimoire too, a lot of the things we had to do was problem solving, right? Because we get these votes and then we have to kind of go backward, like, okay, how do we make this work? You know, how can we bring this to life in the fog? How do we make sure that this is going to be, you know, the best it can be, so we can really meet the expectations of the players who voted for these designs? So there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Exactly. All right, so that covers our section about our cosmetic look. So we really wanted to pass a little moment to show that to the community. Now we will go into Hopeless Exile. So last time that I was here, I've showcased that concept at the previous time, and I explained a little bit the art direction around it, of where we wanted to go. This idea that Hopeless Exile is really a realm where the survivor will face the divine sort of aspects of the paradise-looking environment, but will also face the cosmic horror that we want to give to that space. So have that reaction of something really, really horrific mixed with something really, really pretty. So when we designed that first concept, it was really to drive the overall global mood of that space and really give the direction of where we wanted to go for that. Today, what I wanted to go is to go a little bit more in depth into how we actually made this concept into an actual environment element, because when we do environment, we usually start with a big concept like this that showcases the mood of the whole scenes, and then afterward we go into the details of the elements that we have. So here I'm showcasing two concepts that you've actually probably seen in Jeff's video before if you looked carefully. We have the Searcher's Pendant on the left, and we have the Exiled Soul on the right. So essentially the Searcher's Pendant is the artifact that the survivor finds in Hopeless Exile the first time he gets there, that he picks up, and he uses that artifact to essentially absorb all these exiled souls that are floating there. So when we do environment like this, we have multiple concepts of all the little elements that we design in order to be able to make them arrive in 3D. And that's where essentially Maryse and Stephanie comes in. They essentially take over all these concepts and build the environment itself. So Maryse was our artist, that was working on the environment itself, and Stephanie was our lighter artist that made all the Hopeless Exile lighting.
And there's a lot of work there to do, because it's just a completely new environment, right? That players are going to get to be immersed in. So there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Exactly, and we can take a look essentially at how we've managed to build it. So we can jump on how essentially you build that environment.
Yes, so the first thing we wanted to say today was when we, as artists, get the concepts. So once the job of the concept and everything, they wanted to know exactly how to do.
This actually looks so
First thing is to define how we're going to make everything. So because there's always new ideas that comes in and new things to explore, and like in this case we had different challenge. As you said, it was a new environment, so everything was made from scratch. So when we received this, how can we make it an actual game? So if you want to change a slide, the way we approached this one, we were a bit limited. We didn't have any trees, we didn't have anything to variate the environment. So we wanted to make something that would be, make sure we didn't have any too much repetition. So we walked with something that was a modular kit, is what we call. So it's like Lego block that could imbrick with each other to make sure that every little part of the exile would be its own little special thing.
Yeah. So it feels like it doesn't feel like you're going into a copy of a copy of a copy. It feels like an environment that's natural, that you can really explore.
So that's the approach we had for this one, and we wanted to make sure that everything would work. So we started with the little block you see, we call blockers. So it's like a basic shape of what everything will look like, so we can have an idea of how much we're going to use, how can we place them, and how everything looks, so we can know if the walls are high enough, if everything works correctly, and we can play test rapidly. So that's what we use, and then the artist would use those blockings to create the assets from them.
And that's where essentially we define the proportion of the space, right? That we decide the landmarks, how big it's going to be, how the corridors or large are going to be. We knew for Hopeless Exile, for example, that the statue would be central, and these sort of things, they're defined on the blocking pass.
Yep. And after that, once on my job is done and the level art, what we call is done, then it's Stephanie's side who's gonna light it all up.
Yeah, so mostly in our video games, the lighting is mostly darkness. So in this particular tile, the challenge was it's bright daylight with bright skies and bright god rays. So I had to do a custom skybox with the big clouds that you voted for. And after that, I mostly had to put some light blockers that I managed to do like custom clouds shapes that's moving that helps guide the visual light for the statue. And also I added a little bit of volumetrics to help for the big god rays that you will see that when you look up in the sky. So that's pretty much it for the lighting.
I remember, because we're not used to do so many bright lighting in our map. I remember having so many back and forth with you into, okay, a bit brighter, a bit darker, and going back and forth to really find the good level for all of these things. It was quite a challenge.
It's true that I hadn't realized how new it is for us to have an environment like this one that's so bright and it's bright, but it's still oppressive. You know, you can't feel safe there because you don't want people to stay there too long. It's a hopeless exile. You know, hopeless is in the title. So you want to make sure that it's you know, divine in a sense, but still very very scary.
Yeah, that duality was really part of the building of it, right? It's really by first impression you feel like you are in super paradise sort of place, but then you start looking around and like, no, it looks like there's a bunch of things weird around here and stuck in walls and all these sort of elements.
That's where I had the pleasure to hide so many little things around the map, so for you guys to find. There's so many tormented souls and things like that we're going to see soon. Stay tuned. But yeah, so Stephanie was to make everything like so godly and all of that, and I was the one, you know, making it oppressing and hiding little things here and there.
Eerie and creepy and strange and wrong.
Yes.
You made it right. You made it wrong.
Right. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. She puts creepy things and I put lights on it.
Exactly. So if you want to see what we did, then
yes, lot to explore in there.
Yes.
And yeah, we have a little video of the Hopeless Exile. Disclaimer.
Yes.
I think we have to have one disclaimer here. It will not be this peaceful.
This is the only time you will see it peaceful like
yes.
that.
Yes,
indeed.
This is really to give you an idea of how it looks, you know, how beautiful it is, how much work has gone into it, how, you know, like how much craftsmanship there is really in building this space. But when you get to experience it in the PTB, it will not be this peaceful.
Yeah, this is the only time you're going to see it without running for your life.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly, yes.
I hope you will still enjoy the sky, even though you were running for your life.
But yeah, absolutely beautiful. And I think we have a question here, but I don't know if this is going to be something that you're able to answer, so I'm just going to ask it. We were asked, how big is the hitbox on the Killer's Power / beam in the Hopeless Exile?
That's really a Jeff question.
That's
I
a Jeff
couldn't
question.
answer. I think I'm going by memory. I think the beam is similar to the one that we throw in the map, but to be verified. Jeff is the right person to ask that question.
Beautiful. So you know what? Maybe we can get that answer from Jeff and get back to it afterward. But yeah, this is beautiful. Incredible work on this. I'm so excited for players to explore the Hopeless Exile as the Judgment or as Aurora. As a Judgment, no. Explore the Hopeless Exile as Aurora and play the new Killer on one of our regular maps. A lot of things to explore, a lot of things to see. It's going to be very exciting, and it's very clear a lot of work went into this. So thank you for joining us today. And I know, Jay, you had been here before, but this was your first time on our stream.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. I know this is not an easy feat. There's a lot of work that goes into planning these, a lot of work that you're doing on the chapter in general too. But it was so nice to get a glimpse at the Hopeless Exile. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
So excited for players to get their hands on it, and we're going to talk about UI and UX next. So stay here. We have a lot more to show you.
Yes.
Hey, Tyler, what's up?
Thank Thanks.
Good. Right done.
And we're back. Hello, everyone. Still me, still Omnia, still here. Before we continue with UI and UX, I'm going to answer one of the most asked questions. What is this? This is our clicker. This is how we move things on the screen for you, in case you were wondering. But more important, let's go into UI and UX. Today I have two new faces. Well, new. I think some of them you've seen before, but two new faces with me that we haven't seen on the Grimoire stream so far. I'm going to be joined by Alexandra, our UI art team lead, and Jean, our senior UX designer, to tell us a bit more about the role of UI and UX in creating a new chapter. And there's a lot of work that goes into that.
Definitely is, yeah. Well, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, as you said, I'm Alex. I'm the UI art team lead. And you know,
yeah, I'm Gene. I'm senior UX designer. I've focused a lot on killers.
Yeah. So to talk a bit about the role that we play in making a chapter, UI art usually comes in later in production. We collaborate with a lot of different departments, but we want to make sure that all of the aspects of the killer and survivor have kind of been decided ahead of time before we get in, so we have all the information we need to then create the UI art and assets that need to be made. To do that, we work really closely with UX.
Yeah, and counter to UI, UX tries to come in as early as possible. There's a lot of things that we need to figure out, and UI and UX often get lumped together, which is really true for web and app development, but when it comes to games, there's a lot more to surface to feedback to the user or the player, more than just menus and the HUD layer. We go beyond the 2D stuff. So as an example, you can see here that this is an example flowchart of what we work with. So I would have worked with Jeff on this, and we kind of broke the gameplay down into 3 different sections is kind of the way that I envisioned it. So as we know, the Judgment has their default phase and then their Zealous phase, which was empowered, what we used at the time, and Exile was not so much for the killer themselves, but it was a new space for the survivors. And so even on the left, I have like gameplay entities, not to be confused with the entity, but the different things that would need to be feedbacked in different ways throughout the course of gameplay. So if we zoom in on just the power here, this is the main ability of Divine Light. At the time, we were calling it the Ray. And you can see that I've really separated it into the different steps. So Jeff and I thought about what animation needs we have, VFX, sound effects, and this is really helpful for the art teams, the animators, and the art directors to figure out what is going to be needed, and then eventually we figure out what that looks like, and then we bring it to UI because it'll help us determine what those UI buttons or what those different states are. So here's just some wireframes of what that looked like, the different states of how that power widget would look. Some things are ready, some things are on cooldown, that kind of thing. But yeah, then it goes to you.
Yeah, you do a lot more than just the wireframes.
Yes,
in
yes.
your role. We get grouped together a lot, but there's a lot more in what UX does in creating the killer. But thank you for the wireframes, because we do use those when we create ours. So after we have the wireframes and kind of an understanding of the gameplay of like what icons are needed for the killer power, then we can get to work making the icons. So to make killer power icons, we'll do some research on what's been made so far. We'll look at the animations, we'll look at the VFX that's been created, find out more about the theme of the character, definitely sync with art direction to start making the power icons. So these ones are made by Donna on our team, and I kind of want to break down how the Judgment's power icons work a little bit. Over the course of, the last few years, there's been a mandate to create more power icons for a killer's kit. In the past, it used to be 1 or 2 icons would represent the power overall, but now the mandate is to represent more states of the different icons. So with the Judgment's power icons, on the left you can see that for Divine Ray, or the divine light ray retribution. There's the charging state, and then there's the release state. Once they've entered its zealous state, or the empowered state, that initial power, our ability gets more power. So so what we like to do is use that same composition, but show that it is more powerful with more flair in the icon. If there's a VFX happening on the character at the time, then we try and work that into the icon. So that's what we've done here with the power icons.
Yeah, exactly. It really increases the legibility of just like everything that's on screen.
Yeah. We also work closely with you on the next thing we're going to talk about, which is the Killer Affliction.
Yeah, so this is, as you all know, there's what was called Sin and is now called Heresy. And when we're thinking about survivor afflictions, we have to think about how they're going to appear on screen. So, you know, what does that look like? Is it VFX around the survivor's head, on their body? Is it a trailing thing? And what do we want to do on the UI side? And fortunately, for this killer, it was a lot simpler than we've seen in the past. But you can see here, just there's 4 different states to really consider. There's the default state of nothing behind white. And then, of course, heresy is something that is gained right away. You know, sometimes it's something that is gained over time or is gained through interactions or just like incremental like points, you could say. But no, here it just turns on. And then when you go to repent for your sins, rather, then we start the decaying of it. And even here, the direction of the clockwise wipe is very important. We all know how clocks work. But there was a point early in the prototype where the wipe was happening in the opposite direction. And so a lot of players were feeling like it was leading up to some other negative effect that they were going to gain. So it was really important that we fixed the direction so they knew that it was going to be lost. And then, of course, there's a new, in the wireframe, exile icon. It was just, if we think about Killer Affliction, there's also like the survivor state. And so this is, of course, something more like being on a hook or being trapped in a bear trap. So it would replace the survivor portrait. But yeah, these wireframes, as beautiful as they are.
Yeah, we take the wireframes and then figure out how to make it pretty. So yeah, this is a capture from in the game. As you mentioned earlier, this particular Killer Affliction was much simpler than they usually end up being. They usually get pretty complex, but as you mentioned, when we start the UI art, sometimes everything else has been created already, and we can look at the VFXs in the game, the animation, and directly pull from that. For Heresy, or for Sin, there was the halo created on the survivor to indicate that they're suffering from heresy or it's from sin. So it was decided, let's just use that for the UI art version. So on the killer portrait, we were able to, this is work from Gio and Auntie and Adrian kind of combination here, making material shaders based off of that VFX. It just worked out perfectly this time.
Yeah. It really did. But yeah, talking about this affliction, you know, there's, like I mentioned, there's survivor afflictions, there's survivor states, but there's also, of course, very often with those come the status effects, which we all know. But it was a challenge trying to figure out where that information lived on screen. But before we do that, let's just quickly look at the state, rather.
Yes, we'll quickly show. Yeah, so when the killer, when the killer sends a survivor to exile, this is the state change that you see. So instead of a portrait, you're going to see a little survivor flying off, getting carried away to the exile. This is a great way to indicate that, hey, your buddy needs a rescue. They're trapped in exile.
Yeah.
Go pray.
Yeah, and while in exile, it was. I need to apologize, first of all, from the blog post. I scared you all with some numbers. I am so sorry. It was very often in UX, it's very helpful to work with large numbers to see how that's going to look on screen. Of course, none of these numbers appear on screen, but there was a point where they might have. Yeah, no, these were very placeholder. I'm, again, sorry, but I'm glad I kept you on your toes. And if we just go to the next slide, we try to figure out how these lived on screen. And you can see this is kind of a bit of a mashup of different ideas I was playing with at the time. You know, there was the example of the icons above the interaction bar while you're using the searcher's pendant, and of course the status effects on the right. But there was a time, and I didn't really go past this with the team, but there was a time where I was wondering, do we try to show something in the what we call the external widget, often where you're affected already by a perk or an add-on? And I thought, could we have you affected by a location here? And in the end, I decided not to do that. It's just, let's keep it super to perks and add-ons. That's going to be a lot more clear. Plus, you know, in this wireframe, we wouldn't use the diamond shape anyway, because that is what identifies perks.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, eventually we came to what we have, what you'll see in game, which is the status effects on the right, and you'll see you're building them up. So yeah.
Yeah, and this is a good demonstration of all the experimenting that you do ahead of presenting it to the UI team to take over. But we do some brainstorming a little bit in between.
Never present one idea. You've got to present multiple.
Yeah. But speaking about perks, here's a look at the perk icons for the Judgment and for Aurora. Doing the perk icons is one of the UI art team's favorite things to do because it's great to get in and do some illustration here. So these were done by Auntie and Mel on our team, and they turned out beautiful. A bit of a behind the scenes for making the perk icons. One thing that we really like doing, a new process that we do, is having a brainstorming session with everyone involved in creating the perks when it's time to make the icons. So we'll get in a meeting with the UI artist, yourself, the perk designer, narrative,
cool.
And art direction, of course, and just sit down and figure out what should these be. We do have some things we keep in mind. So there are a few different types of perks where we'll try and keep the same motifs going. So if you see Aurora's Boon Steadfast perk is using a similar motif that we use on our Boon perk icons with the circular diagram sort of style. And then with the Judgment Hex, can't remember the name of it. Under your thumb, yeah, a hex under your thumb. When there's a totem involved, we try to put skulls in there. Try to get some skulls in there. But beyond that, the perk icons, we try to focus more on, it's like creating more art for the character. So the themes of the character, the art direction of the character, and try to get those into the icons. And if there's gameplay that can help inform them too, then we do that. With Aurora's, you see the star motifs and kind of the protection, because that's thematic that's part of her theme. For Judgment, the Judgment is very symmetrical, very strict, kind of like a Law and Order representation, and so we went with kind of this symmetrical, intimidating composition for the perk icons for them, for it. For it.
But yeah, these turned out really great, and we just wanted to share one last thing. One of the early things that we saw in prototyping and the feedback we got from playtests was that when you were in exile, players didn't know that there was like a second hook stage, right? Because it was essentially putting you on hook. And so we figured out, you know, of course we need to support this somehow in the VFX and whatnot, but we decided that we should probably split the hook timer because progress bars don't necessarily like have a checkpoint in the middle unless it's very clearly indicated. So now you will have clear indication of your stage 1 and stage 2 hook timers, and this is going to be in the game for not just in exile,
how that
but
stages were
also
going to
when
look.
you're on the hook in normal game modes, and also when you're in a Cage of Atonement against the Executioner, or Cage of Torment, sorry, and Cage of Corruption when you're playing in game mode 2v8.
Yeah.
So
not just for the Judgment. This is now a change that's going to be for the hook timer. Yeah.
It's going to help a lot of new players because I've definitely seen the confusion of, oh, what just happened? So
Yeah.
This is honestly really great to see, like the work that goes on behind the scenes to build, you know, kind of the language that we use to talk to players in the game, you know, because it's like it's really helping them navigate something that, you know, sometimes they have to make a split-second decision. We need to communicate something in that split second, and this is where, you know, both of you come in very different ways. But I think we don't get to show that as much when working on other chapters. And I think the Grimoire is a great time for us to show this because players have been here with us, this whole time. They've been part of their journey, and they've, they have in some way contributed to the choices that we've made for, for icons, for perks, for things like that, because they voted on things that ended up making their way into, the perk icons or into, like the effects, things like that. So it's really good to see that their votes are still, their decisions are still being carried over in, UI and UX decisions. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really fun having their decisions come in, and then how do we adapt all of that stuff for the character choice, the color palette, and all that. So,
yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to like perk and powers, we love showcasing what the character looks like and the themes of them. So those the themes that were voted on by the community they show up in the final icons too.
That's great. It's so beautiful to see, and I love that we got to see a bit the process behind it as well of building that, because there is a lot of testing and iteration and brainstorming that goes into, UI and UX elements too, because you have to make sure that it's clear for players when they're in the game and that they can navigate it, and that we're really helping them, either as survivor or as skiller, understand, how to play pretty much. So yeah, but thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
For talking about UI, UX, how both contribute to the player experience, how different they are, because that's really important, I think. But also how they're equally important in helping players, navigate the game. So
yeah,
thank you for being here with us, and we're going to move to VFX and animation right after. So stay with us, and thank you again for joining us, Alex and Jean.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're back. I'm still here. You're stuck with me. Sorry. Not so sorry, because I'm having a lot of fun talking about the Grimoire. And now we're going to talk about VFX and animation. I'm joined by some new faces and also some you've seen before. And then we're going to move on to talk about audio, which I know you're also very excited about. But first, I'm joined by Etienne, our animation team lead, who's right here with me. You have Fred, our audio director, we're going to move on to right after, who you already know. We've had him on the stream before to talk about audio, which was very fun. And I'm also joined remotely by someone you've already seen before, Anna. Hello, Anna, our VFX artist. I know. Hello. So happy to have you back. Last time when you came to talk about VFX, people were very excited to see the process. So I'm hoping, today we get to see a bit of the progress and everything we've worked on. So yeah, let's jump directly to VFX with Anna. Yes.
We have been shaping up nicely. We have about 6 people total working on this chapter right now, and we've had a lot to make. I think we had about 80 VFX tasks for this chapter, but please keep in mind that things are still being worked on and are in progress, so they will change. So just keep that in mind. But we can go to the first VFX slide. So this is an effect that I've shown previously. I think it's called Hearsay now. It's previously known as Sin. So we made some changes for this to not be as distracting, as playtest feedback said that it was too distracting as the survivor. So we reduced the scale of this and the overall emissive. And hopefully it will not be too distracting. Please, as Daniel mentioned before, play the PTB and give us our feedback for this one, because I would love to make sure that this isn't as distracting for everyone. You will be able to repent your hearsay at shrines. So if we can go to the next slide. This is how you repent your hearsay and save survivors from the exile. So this is split into 2 different things. We have the stuff at the top, which is the indication of someone is in the exile and you need to save them. And then we have the VFX on the bottom, which is also to indicate, I see the video playing, yeah. The VFX on the bottom for the repenting of the hearsay. So if you want to get rid of your hearsay, you stab your hand and you bleed a little and your sin will start to fade. And if you want to save a survivor, you do the same thing and someone will beam down from the exile. But something that we ran into when we were working on this effect, you might be able to see a little teaser of this later. The pose for this was initially different, and I had to flag this to the whole team because it was a little bit questionable. So we ended up doing a one-sided stab with the hands, but later on you'll get to see the original pose and why we probably changed it. So speaking of the exile, we can go to the next slide. This is the Banish to Exile portal. So
That's
when
cool.
a killer has hit a survivor with the Heresy, and they have Heresy, you can banish them to the exile. So this was a way to give a little like sneak peek to the killer, because the killer can't go into the exile. So we really wanted to be able to create a really cool effect to showcase the exile for the killer. So one of our more senior artists cooked up this killer portal effect using a cube map. So it actually looks like you can really step into the portal. Not in this video, I should have maybe got a better one, but if you look at it from the sides, you can actually like see on the around inside of it because it's using a cube map. So I really hope that the killer will be able to appreciate that since they don't get to go to the exile. And if we go to the next slide, lo and behold, this is the exile. So we've seen a few other videos of this, but this is with all the VFX. So the exile has a ton of VFX, actually. We had to do, I hope I get the names right. We changed the names. The Seeds, what were they? Seeds of Punishment, which are those hazards coming down. Exiled Souls, which are those little we called them crystals previously, but they're the little things that you collect. And we had the Searcher's Pendant, which was the artifact previously. So a lot of these VFX, we had to iterate on them quite a bit. One of the main things we did was change a lot of the artifact and crystal / exiled souls VFX to be blue because we found it too hard to really see what was going on in here because there was so much gold and yellow. It looked really nice, but like from a gameplay perspective, it was too hard to differentiate what you were supposed to be doing in here. So we're hoping that this will be easier for the players to read and understand when they get into the exile, that they can collect those exiled souls and hopefully get out quicker. And we can go to the next slide, please. So I think we already saw some videos and other people's videos when it was their turn. And again, subject to change, especially for the pillar. I've already done some changes since I recorded these a couple days ago. This is our gameplay pillar. So this is what the killer's power is. This went through some iterations, and it was also a lot of work because it has a lot of different states. It has a controlling state, it has multiple states when it's being flung, it has a teardown state, it has a timeout state. So it was a lot of work, and it was a huge collaboration between VFX, programming, and design and art direction to ensure we could get, you know, the visual aspect to look good, to make sure that it functions as it should in gameplay, to make sure it's visible when it should be, visible when it shouldn't be. So as I mentioned, we're still kind of tweaking these to polish it a bit more, but it's coming along, and yeah, you don't want to get hit by this. We can go to the next slide, please. And this is the empowered pillar, which I believe is called Zealous now. So this is very similar to the base gameplay. It's just blue. It's a little bit more than just blue, but visually, my job was to make it blue, and the VFX are slightly larger on some aspects, and yeah, we just needed to really indicate that you are in your Zealous mode and you are more powerful, right? So the main thing was to communicate that this was different than the base gameplay pillar. But yeah, that is pretty much all the videos I had for VFX right now, but there's still lots of VFX that I didn't show, and you will be able to see those in the PTB. And I do want to say a huge thank you to my team. As I said, there's about 6 people working on this chapter right now, and obviously the people that aren't working directly on this chapter have given me feedback, and I want to say a huge thank you to my team and a big shout out to the rendering and tech art team as well. So that's all I have for VFX.
I think, yeah, like you mentioned, you know, like we bring a lot of people on these streams to talk about the work that happens behind the scenes, but most of the time it's not just, you know, one person working on this. So many people are bringing this chapter to life, and it's just really the teamwork that goes into it is really, really good to see. And I know last time when you came, people were so excited to see, you know, the work that goes into VFX. So thank you for joining us again to show us a bit of the progress. I'm excited that they're still going to get some surprises for the VFX when they, you know, actually test it and try it for themselves. But it was so nice to get to see a bit of the progress we've made, because it's incredibly, incredibly cool to see.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me too.
Thank you. It's so nice to have you again. And we're going to move on to animation now with Etienne, that we have here for the first time, because, you know, animation is really important to bring characters to life. And this is again not a small feat to bring, you know, the Judgment to life. We're talking about a divine killer here, which is quite ambitious. So maybe you want to talk to us a bit more about, you know, one, maybe what animation is really, and what was the process of, you know, working on this chapter.
So animation basically is it's actually two departments. You have the animators that are doing the movement, bringing the personality, bringing the gameplay animation. But there's also the lesser known tech animators that are the ones behind the scene doing the skeleton, doing the controls that allows us to be able to move it. And they're also the ones that do more the technical aspects in game. Like this killer is so huge that she's a bit outside of the collider sometimes, so we want to make sure that she's not colliding into walls, clipping into objects. So the tech animators are the one, doing the black magic behind the in the engine to make it so the legs don't clip in walls. They will push back. The wings are pushing back in.
A lot of magic involved in bringing a killer like the Judgment to life, for sure.
Exactly. So the animation is for this chapter is a team of 13 people, and we've been working hard to bring this entity, this creature that tries to be a god to life, and I think we can show the idle animation in the menu.
Wow!
And as you can see, there's a lot of movement on this. Yes. We've created those faces and the legs that are souls that are trapped inside.
And this is also impressive because this is the first time that players really get to see it. We haven't shown it just yet, so this is new. This is new for them. You heard it here first. You saw it here first.
So here's the Judgment, and there's also a tech art that created all the moving eyes on the killer, but also on the weapon. So a lot of tiny movement everywhere. And then a killer needs a survivor, so of course we created Aurora as well. We can go to the next slide. So this is Aurora. We wanted to make sure that she's a tough character, that she survived the Judgment before, and she knows
she knows how to deal with the situation. This might be new to her, but you know, she's prepared, she's equipped. She's gonna be in there in the trials, supporting the other survivors, and hopefully escaping.
Yeah, hopefully. And then I wanted to bring a kind of funny story that Anna teased a bit earlier, that sometimes when we start animation, we don't necessarily have all the assets right away, and they come in later because everyone works in parallel. And so for the shrine animation, we started with just a concept art to know what we were supposed to do, and we were planning to adjust the pose afterwards. So the idea behind the praying at the shrine to bring the characters back from the exile was to stab your hands, and the concept was using both hands on the shrine, a bit like this. This is our first placeholder animation, and it works well in a vacuum.
This is important for what comes next.
Yes. And so afterwards, a bit later, you'll start to see the problem that occurred. We received a model for the shrine, and I didn't put the animation in there, but
probably best.
Exactly. But yeah, it started to be flagged as questionable. We tried to fix it many times, trying to sink the character lower, try to put the head backwards a bit more to fix the pose that was slightly questionable. But in the end, we decided that stabbing with only one hand on the side gave us also more time to stab the hand, so it feels more painful. And
Yes, ouch.
yes.
That looks like it hurts.
Oh yeah.
I have to say.
And yeah, it removed the questionable aspect from the old pose, and I think it works better as well.
I think one, very funny story, but two, I think this is also really interesting because again, and this is a theme that comes back, it really shows how much testing goes into this. You know, like we don't just test gameplay and balance and, you know, powers and perks, we have to test everything to make sure that, you know, it tells a cohesive story. And here I think we really got something because, ouch, that looks, it's going to be painful to get your friends out of the hopeless exile.
It's a sacrifice.
It is. But yeah, beautiful. Wow. I think I love that our players get to see a bit of the work here too, because, you know, for animation, a lot of the time they get to see the final product. They only get to see the polished version, you know, these characters brought to life, and it's hard to sometimes break it down into what really goes into this, what work goes behind all of these beautiful, you know, animations, and I love that we got to show them a bit more of the behind the scenes. So thank you, Etienne.
Thank you.
This was great. And now we're going to move on to music and voice lines, or rather I want to say audio with you, Fred. You were here last time during a very, I want to say a very exciting time, because it was during the vote that got us a lot of really passionate opinions. But today,
on the theme,
yes, on the theme. I remember there were a lot of, we definitely had, there was definitely a winner, that's for sure, but we definitely had a lot of very vocal opinions, which we love to see. We love to see how much players loved the theme. But you're here to give us a bit more of an update on what's going on when it comes to audio.
Yeah, there's the voice that we barely mentioned. We mentioned the casting, but not here now we have the result.
Yes.
So I'm excited to share that with you. It's starting with the killer. It's a god. It's so the intention is to have that powerful voice, many layers, voices that give the impression that it's powerful.
Yeah.
It's
you have to be scared. You have to be a little scared.
Yeah, intimidated.
Yes.
So and there's also a great opportunity that was presented to us in the fact that it's a god. You can use that voice in a more global way. So that the voice coming from the sky, and so we try to explore that for some feedback. So, but here I have just a sneak peek of a few voice line, and it's dry. It's not in the game. It's even more powerful in the game, but it sounds great. And this is a good collaboration between our voice designer and narrative team. And so I'll let you listen to that. Oops.
Oh, let's go back, quick. Yes.
Is that playing?
Can we hear it? Can we hear how scary this is? Oh. Let me see. Oh, yes, we can.
The heretic repents. Yet still you sin. You cannot escape from God. This is your purpose. You are assistant, and still you reject the truth. Open your eyes. Wow. There is nowhere to hide from the light.
It sounds a lot like the person in Baldur's Gate 3. Just saying.
I love the echo. You know, that you really get a sense that this is not just, you're not just facing, you know, the killer, you're facing something that's huge, that's all encompassing, that's powerful, it's just, I love that how much.
Jonathan's
I think
probably
here it's
pretty
really
good for the
clear
killer.
How much work goes into making sure, you know, the audio also fits with the narrative, because really here we get to feel how powerful the judgment is supposed to be, and
It's
you
like she's
convey
saying
that perfectly through.
They
the
sound
voice
that
and
person
all the
sounds
effect that goes into
powerful.
it. it's really good to see.
BG3, so
Imagine in game.
it works
Can't wait.
really well.
The stars guide me. No stars. Only darkness. Open your damn thing. Heroic. Novus flame burn you.
I've seen many wounded.
Lend a hand. Strength. I must show strength.
So, strong personality. Also, our oldest character, the oldest survivor. So, it's super interesting character. Super.
The voice
and,
acting's pretty good.
I feel that this voice is really perfect for the character. So, I hope that
they fit the
people
characters that they're
enjoy
playing.
this direction. Narrative really brings an interesting character in game. So.
And I think it's also important to talk about, how when we do casting, when we do when we try to find the right voice for our characters, it's also about, again, we're communicating something with that. We're saying something about, Aurora's, personality, really, and that's conveyed through her voice, and we try to find, the right one that really says, this is someone who's strong, who's been here before, who's seen things like that before, who's been fighting, her own, I want to say, struggles. This is someone who's been through some things, and it comes through in her voice. So.
And there's a relation with the killer that is super interesting as well. And there are some lines that you can, they're sharing some lines. So there's a relation. So it's super interesting.
So some surprises is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, very exciting. But they'll have to wait for the PTV.
Yes, for more. Yeah.
Yes.
You have to play the PTV. The next subject, it's the last time I talked about the how powerful the beam, like the divine light. That's the final name. How powerful it need to be. Also, I talk about the footstep, the Charybdis footstep. How it needs to be really well balanced, to not be annoying or a gameplay breaker, but today I want to talk about the exile. We saw the exile early in the presentation, but we saw the exile, the example that is super calm and super kind of super.
Again, not what players are going to experience.
No, it's a lie. It's totally a lie. A lot of things happening in the exile. It's busy. So on the other side is also a challenge to keep everything comprehensive and really distinct. So we need to play with the difference of frequencies. We need to also set a lot of parameters to make it work. And there is also that exile that is another place that keep a relation with the map. So there's feedback that we can hear from the exile or not. So there's a lot of decision and to keep that exile not realistic, but you believe in that place, and you believe that it exists, and you don't break the relation between the two places.
It's immersive. You feel like really immersed in it, and when you go through it, it doesn't break that illusion.
Yeah. So I want to present you a sneak peek of the exile with the audio and how busy is it, and the sound designer did a great job, really, for the distinction and all the comprehensive elements. So
it might stay a sneak peek.
Yeah. Do I need no? I'm struggling.
I think it was too strong, Fred. I think this was too strong. It could not be contained in a presentation. I think it was too strong for the presentation. You know what? Fitting for the judgment. Very fitting. So I guess we'll have to wait to hear those. Maybe we get to show players a little bit early. Maybe next week. You know what? We'll figure something out. You tease them now.
Yeah.
Now we get to post it very shortly and show them a little bit of that. That's all right.
The tease was really good.
Yes. Well, yes, it was really good. Now, be prepared. A lot of fun stuff.
A lot of sounds. Awesome sounds.
A lot of sounds. A lot of exciting
things. The seeds of judgment everywhere. It's amazing.
You have to imagine it. Picture it in your mind, and we'll bring it to you maybe on socials. Let's do that. We'll try to give you a little bit of a sneak peek before it goes live in the PTB, and then in the game itself. But yeah, that's it. Any last words about the process, as a whole?
Like I said, in terms of gameplay, that killer is huge in terms of elements and to the relation between elements. Also, even just the shrine, it was something, and so it's super rich. So it was a fun killer to do, and an amazing opportunity for a lot of work, a lot of sounds to I mean, it's alive. This killer, the exile is alive, so it's amazing. So, yeah, I hope that it's. I hope that the player will really like it. It was a fun experience to share with the players as well. So.
I think it was a fun experience for all of us to get to work on this, get to see it come to life, get to see get all those votes in, and get to see what players really wanted to. See in the game, and then to get to kind of again problem solve. How do we bring that to life? How do we bring the judgment? A divine killer into the fog. How do we bring Aurora, a new character, into the fog? And it's been a very exciting year, and now I can't wait for players to get their hands on these new characters and to see the Hopeless Exile. So a lot of exciting things, which you will get to experience in the PTB early August, but you'll definitely get a little bit of a glimpse at the new content next week, and maybe an early look as well at the new chapter. So, stay tuned. Our socials, official channels, make sure you follow us. You'll find everything there. But before I go, again, and I think this comes from all of us, from the whole team, I want to extend a thank you to everyone who joined us on this journey. This has been now a journey of, more than a year of building this chapter from the very beginning, from the votes, from everything. And you've seen a lot of it through our blog post and our streams. And I hope you enjoyed being a part of it, because we sure did. This was a new thing we did, and we're so glad we did. So huge thank you, because there wouldn't be a Judgment or a Hopeless Exile in the Fog without you. This came from you. All we did was bringing it to life. So thank you again for joining us, and yeah, stay tuned for more, and I can't wait for you to see the new content in the PTB early August. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you in the fog.
That's it, huh? The new killer in Survivor looks so cool. Like that patch is gonna be really cool. Can't wait to see what that looks like. And then as far as the balance updates, hopefully they do a big, like they said that they're doing a bunch of perks, so hopefully they actually do, a fairly big change there and shake up the meta a bit, because it needs it. But I appreciate everyone stopping by here. We'll go on a little raid here because I have to get some food and then head off to bed because I gotta work tomorrow. But I do hope to have another stream tomorrow night. It'll probably be after dinner. I'll probably be starting roughly around now, maybe an hour from now tomorrow. So we'll have a night stream. But let's see if we can go on a little raid here. See if there's anyone who is streaming right now. Oh, Swed's doing some DVD right now. He's playing some Hag. He's not a fan of playing Hag, so he has like a sub goal kind of thing where if you do subs, he'll play Hag games. So we'll go see his misery. Appreciate if everyone stopped by on the raid here. Say hi, Swed. And like I said, I'll be streaming again tomorrow. My last stream before I go on a vacation for like a week and a half. So hopefully everyone will show up for that. But like I said, say hi to this one for me, and I will see everyone tomorrow. Bye, everyone.